Hello and welcome. You're watching AI with Sanket. This is the Federal. Why do we say AI? No, this is not artificial intelligence, but this is the AI of news. Because news in India today requires not artificial, but analytical intelligence. On this show today, we are going to talk about music maestro R Rahman. Who doesn't know him? The world knows of him. The world talks about him. He has received laurels across the world. But when this same music maestro, known for his musical genius, his beautiful personality, when this person calls Bollywood communal, what is he trying to say? Is R Rahman speaking less and saying more about what is going on in Bollywood? He was speaking to the British Broadcasting Corporation, and a question was asked of him, as a Tamil outsider in Bollywood, did you face discrimination in the 90s? R Rahman responded by saying, I didn't get to know all that stuff, maybe got concealed, all that stuff. But for me, I never felt any of those things. But the past 8 years, maybe because of the power shift that has happened, people were not creative. They have the power now to decide things. He's talking about Bollywood. Who are these people who have become powerful in the past eight years? And might have been a communal thing also, but not on my face. I hear like Chinese whispers that this happened, and they booked you, and the other company, the music company, went and funded the movie and got their 5 composers. And I said, oh, that's great. Rest for me, I can chill out with my family. Now, just to understand what R Rahman is trying to say, he suggests that there is perhaps a powerful music lobby in Bollywood which wants its own music composers in movies and not the musical brilliance of R Rahman. That on many occasions he was signed in, and then the music company, almost in the form of a dadagiri, for a lack of a better word, chose to replace him with some of their own. Is this a reality? And why has R Rahman, who has never used the race card or the communal card or the Muslim card, why has he been forced to use the word communal? Is Bollywood communal in nature? Is there a shift that a celebrated personality like R Rahman has to call Bollywood communal? What is happening in Bollywood? Let's try and understand. And is there some pressure which is forcing Bollywood to turn, in the words of R Rahman, communal? I have with me our guests this evening. Let's quickly introduce them. Mr. Girish Wankhede is a film trade analyst. Thank you very much for joining us. Abhishek Tripathi, filmmaker and BJP spokesperson from Maharashtra. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Tripathi. Saira Shah Halim is an author and activist. Thank you very much for joining us, Saira. And we also have T. Ramakrishnan, Senior Associate Editor of The Hindu, with us. This is an important discussion because seldom do you hear someone of the brilliance of R Rahman talk like this. I have never in the history of my journalism, or as someone who has heard R Rahman's music, seen or heard him talk like this. He does not, that is not his personality. What forced R Rahman to call Bollywood communal? Girish Wankhede, I want to begin with you first. What is your reading? What is he trying to say?
Obviously, what he says is a very, very serious allegation on Bollywood, and what I can see that there is definitely a proper thought process which has been the part of Bollywood, which is doing agenda films, which are doing uh, rightist films, which are doing the films where they are not involving Muslim community. If it is so, it is very, very less or very selected. If he is saying that a music company is accommodating 5 music directors or 4 music directors instead of one, it is an old process. See, there are two ways of looking at it. Rahman, as a genius, there is a lot of competition now in Bollywood as well as in Tamil space. Also, there is Anirudh, and then there is DSP, and there are a lot of new music directors who are coming up. Rahman's working style is always questionable. He works in the nights, and may the new generation of the people won't like it. But as he says, communal, I seriously find that it is a very serious allegation and there are no proofs for it. We make films, but as per the Bollywood is concerned, we have never been known of isolating somebody only on the base of the religion. We never do that. There have been instances when a Baiju Bawra is being made with Mohammad Rafi singing the song, Bharat Bhushan enacting it, written by Shakil Badani and composed by Naushad. So it has always been a wonderful industry to work with for all the communities. But if he is saying this, if he is pointing to some of the music companies, they I think the pressure will be only 10%. 90% is actually the change in the landscape, also in the music space.
You're talking about a change in the landscape. I can only deduct here that the change is of Bollywood being accused of making more propaganda films. Something which is more suited to the palate of perhaps the central government or the BJP dispensation. Mr. Abhishek Tripathi, I want to come to you now. For someone as senior, seasoned as A.R. Rahman, celebrated as A.R. Rahman, to use the word communal is very serious. I could have understood that some other person is saying this, is bringing in the, you can always diss a person for speaking on communal lines, which is general politics. But here, for A.R. Rahman to use this word, do you feel it at least merits some amount of introspection?
No, first of all, I want to start, Saketji, I want to start on the note that this is highly wrong and irresponsible statement coming from as great as A.R. Rahman is. He's a global icon. His contribution to Indian cinema and music is unquestionable. I mean, this is very strange that this has come from him. Barely less than 2 months back, his Hindi film has released, which is critically acclaimed. A lot of appreciation in terms of music. It is called Tere Ishq Mein. So we have, it has some prime actors, big filmmaker. I don't know why he has made this kind of statement because Khans are there in Bollywood, they're not there in Tamil and Telugu predominantly. So if he wants to travel in that direction in terms of communal religion and all of that, I completely refute this charges. Like I said, 28th November 2025, his film released, Hindi film released, music super hit, film critically acclaimed hit. All of that has happened. So in less than 2 months, I don't know what has happened and why is he saying something like this. We have all loved him, we have all liked him, we have appreciated, including me and crores of people. So what I want to say is Indian cinema has not turned religious, it has turned plural, market driven and audience led. It is very important to understand. So something like this, unfortunate, highly unfortunate. But with due respect, I want to say films have turned not religious. It's a broad emotional statement. So I don't know why he has come up with this. There's
Sure.
nothing. There's never a
Sure. I'm going to ask
time to say something like this.
I'm going to ask some more questions and follow up on what you are saying in just a short moment. Let's quickly take the opening comments of everyone so that we can get this discussion going. Mr. Ramakrishnan, what is your view? My only submission here is that at least take what he's saying seriously.
You see, I'm really amused about his statement because he has been a successful music director. I won't rate him very high because Tamil had a number of very many great film music directors. But anyway, okay. But this man has become much more successful than others. That is not the issue. But how successful he is not an issue. But the point is that see, when things were going all right, you didn't make this an issue. Perhaps, perhaps I think he's not doing that well in the industry, so he's making this issue. So it is a sign of frustration. It is a sign of admission of failure, and then maybe, in fact, he himself had once said that this every film artist, he or she enjoyed time only up to a certain level, after which somebody else would take over. So he had made that statement. So I think perhaps he should consider taking retirement.
This is an interesting comment. You're saying that he's trying to cover up his lack of success of late and also facing greater challenge and also running his course. And he's trying to cover it up as a communal agenda against him. That's an important and significant comment that you have made. Saira Shah Halim, would you agree with what has been said, particularly by the two gentlemen?
So the point is that what he's saying is we need to consider the timeline. He talks that last 8 years he's been facing, he didn't mention he's facing any overt bigotry, but he said, he kind of hinted, insinuated that he is being cancelled because they could have been a certain socio-political shift. And I'm iterating once again that I think people are not blind to see that, yes, there's been a major socio-political shift in India in the last 8-10 years. And that's reflected in cinema as well. Okay, now in this interview that is for the BBC Asian Network, he has not mentioned, Mr. Rahman has not mentioned that he is facing any overt prejudice or overt bigotry or something. He mentioned that there could have been a very subtle, whispered inclusion. So let us be very categoric here that what he means is that the power center we talk about, the creative output, that is shifted from creative directors to non-creative entities, like large music labels or large corporate entities who are taking, the calls on who will be cast and who will not be cast and things like that. So there's a power shift definitely, and the entire creative process has been compromised by external ideological or commercial, other reasons, not entirely creative pursuits. Earlier, you could hire a person simply because of his creative genius. However, what he's talking about is that the direction of the country has changed, and that is being reflected in the arts and the cinema. So if he's saying something like that, a man like Mr. R Rahman, who's not saying that he is facing bigotry, he has simply mentioned that the whole creative output has been changed. Nowadays the flavor of the season is rabid nationalism. It's not even nationalism, I would say it's rabid nationalism, where othering the already displaced and the marginalized are being villainized throughout the film. You look at films like Durandar or the other people, they are reaping millions, on othering the minorities. Here, I'm not talking about Pakistan. Nobody has a problem if you bash Pakistan or something. But if you look at a certain prototype that is trending now, it's about bashing the minority community, and probably that kind of sells in cinema these days. And the kind of films that Rahman was associated with were not divisive films. They talked about oneness, they talked about India, they talked about unifying forces and things like that. So I would say that today these ultra nationalist films are doing well because the mood of the nation obviously depends on the current government, what kind of things they're promoting and what kind of films are they part of, or the films or creative.
When you say, Ms. Saira Shah Halim, when you say that the mood of the country has changed, first of all, Dhurandhar was a movie, I haven't seen it by the way, but the movie, from what I've heard, it does not diss minorities in this country, but it talks about radicalization in our neighboring country and how that is posing to be a problem. So,
Sanket, the problem How come we didn't see such films in the 80s and all that? And today it's very convenient to say that no, it's not about the minorities of India, it's about the neighboring countries and what they did. But again, like you need to understand that the whole thing shifts on the minorities of the country. It's basically dog whistles for the Muslims of the country. When you say that there's an azan going on and somebody is preparing for a terrorist attack, it is kind of insinuating that the minorities of the other country are also kind of a part of some extremist agenda. So you need to
Okay.
understand that it's a dog whistle. It's a
Okay,
dog whistle.
I
It might
understand the
not be
point of
direct.
dog whistling. Girish Wankhede, Abhishek Tripathi does not agree. I'll come to you and Mr. Ramakrishnan in just a short moment. But Girish Wankhede, if nationalism is the flavor of the season, if India
Ultra-nationalism.
wants nationalistic movies, and Saira Shah Alim says ultra-nationalistic movies, are we trying to suggest that A.R. Rahman is not attuned to making music that will suit the nationalistic taste of this country? The man who gave us the album Vande Mataram, the man who was the music director for Roja, which was all about nationalism, love for the country, or for that matter, even Bombay, the movie Bombay,
That
which was about
patriotism, Sanket. That
patriotism.
was a
I
different
agree.
thing. That was a
Okay.
different thing. Ultra nationalism, muscular nationalism is the flavor of the day.
But
What
so
A.R. Rahman talked about was
is A.R. Rahman now
patriotism.
too meek? That is my question. Is Bollywood, in Bollywood's reading, Minister Wankhede, is A.R. Rahman too meek to represent this ultra nationalistic fervor or flavor?
No, he is not. He is a genius filmmaker, and this year the biggest hits like Chhawa was one of the biggest. It was scored by him, and then of course Tere Ishq Mein featuring Dhanush was again scored by him. Both were super hit films, and he is doing great work in Bollywood. And he has been known for Bhag Milka Bhag and Rosa and lot of patriotic songs and nationalistic songs. But see, the mood, of course, it is changed. But see, the music landscape is also changed now. You just go to the music of Dhurandhar, which is the flavor of the season. It is entirely different sound. Even Pushpa, in that context, it was different sound. So now with the new composers, and then there is a certain way of looking at the films where the producers are opting for two or three music directors instead of giving an entire film to one music director. And Rahman is not known for doing a film with other music directors as well. He needs only a solo film. So there are various permutations and combinations also in the music space. As we know that there are agenda films, propaganda films which have been made. The mood of the nation is there, which is changed. But Rahman is genius. He can always score all the time. But at this moment, irrespective of him being the part of two most successful films in this year, if he's saying something, it is obviously need to ponder. But I will clearly say that the new competition has been amazingly good. There are so many great music directors. There
Yeah,
are
I
singing
actually
composers
agree with this.
also who are
Yeah.
doing great.
Yes, Miss Halim, you wanted to come
So
in?
if you look at, there's a new like singers, music directors. You must have heard of this Fahim Abdullah for
Yeah.
this latest film that his
Nayara.
he is doing very well. So I don't think musically there's any bigotry. It's just that though the current, the flavor of the films that are being portrayed today, and I heard that the film Ikis is very different. It talks about unity and the whole futility of war, and it doesn't really blame anyone this side or that side. It simply talks about the futility of war. I think people now are looking at younger artists more than the cancel culture. They're looking at different sounds. Okay, the fact is that even in Dhurandhar, they had to look for a rapper from a Gulf country.
Bharat.
The song that really did well. So if that was the case, they
Filparachi.
would have cancelled. Yeah, they would have cancelled that song as well, which is like everyone is talking about that song. So the guy is from a Gulf country and he's a rapper. He's done really well. Now, Fahim Abdullah is doing very well. Some Kashmiri artists are doing very well. I mean, at a point where Pakistani artists have been cancelled, but there has been a new ground for these upcoming artists who could be from a Gulf country or who could be Kashmir, because probably they like fusion music. The people are not really catering or appreciating a lot of classical sounds. They want a fusion kind of a sound. So I think the taste of the people is changing as the film's mood is changing, where the films are becoming these ultra nationalistic. I think the flavor of the music scene is also changing in India.
Okay, and that needs to be acknowledged. Mr. Abhishek
That
Tripathi,
needs to
you
be
see,
acknowledged.
there are two aspects to this question, the A.R. Rahman question. One is changing times, new music stars, new composers coming in, people liking the new sound. These days, because of the amplification on social media, now there is no classic Brahminical order with which you will make it big. People can make it big like this on social media. So it's extremely liberal, the way you attain stardom or fanhood. But Mr. Abhishek Tripathi, there are two things. Number one, as I said, commercially, is A.R. Rahman commercially now not as viable or creatively not that big a genius anymore? There are other geniuses as well. Or there is a commercial angle, commercial and communal angle, the two C's, because his statement talks about both. Number one, big audio companies, big companies not giving him work, choosing multiple music composers. And number two, the use of the word communal. Both these things he has said.
So I want to say, cinema today reflects what audiences are watching, not what politicians are preaching. It is very important to understand that there is a difference. We are talking about Mr. R Rahman, who happens to be genius, and we all acknowledge that. Yes, Girish said very correctly. I took the name of one film, Teresh mein, there was Chhawa. Last year only. He's talking about last 8 years. Last years only he's given two blockbuster films. And Chhawa, supposedly, some people section of the film called it propaganda. They call it nationalist. It was on Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. The film was based. Still there is R Rahman in it, giving a good music. So if last year he's given two super hits, I don't know how he's coming up with this kind of allegation. If this was 5 years back, I could have I understood, but now he's saying it. Secondly, I want to very important thing, a practical thing in filmmaking. His budget doesn't match his filmmaking. He has to understand that the over budget that he is, the same kind of music, or probably even better, the young music directors are giving in today's market scenario, which is not always very good in Hindi cinema and Bollywood. So he also has to understand. Also, if I go a little more in detail, his recording pattern and his giving songs to producers and directors and to makers delays like months and months. Every singer, playback singer, we have heard their interviews that they have to sit 8 to 10 hours outside his studio just to wait for the recording to happen. See, all these things matter. We don't see this, so we don't discuss this. It is very important to get into the deep root causes also. You have to deliver things in time, because there is always a shooting schedule which is planned, which is scheduled for the songs to come onto the shoot location for it to be filmed. So I don't know, somebody who's given two very good films last year, questioning of last 8 years, this is a very wrong time. And like I said before, it is irresponsible. Your method of working has to change. It has to match with, like there are, Sanketji, so many actors, so many directors, so many technicians. Same way there are so many music directors. And there is no rule, there is no law in the industry, that somebody gets.
I would have agreed to the submission of commercial interests making A.R. Rahman not the only genius music maestro available to the people or to the viewer. My only concern here is that he is not only talking about commercial but communal situation. Is he being othered or singled out for being Allah Rakha Rahman?
Sanketji, last year there is a person who got Best Actor National Award. His name is Shah Rukh Khan. He may be not Allah Rakha, but he's Shah Rukh Khan. He got the Best National Award. And his first in his life. Let's not forget that. Shah Rukh has never got it before. So he's also a Khan. So and he's A.R. Rahman has worked in Shah Rukh Khan's film also so many earlier. So I completely refute. I completely disregard this kind of statement. He should
Fair
have
enough.
said something else instead of communal.
Okay. Okay. Now, is he going to explain himself in what context he said what he did? Were these words poorly chosen? Is he feeling a lot more than what he has said? Because we know he's a man of a few words. Mr. Ramakrishnan, you have expressed your view on how he is not the only genius around. Right? You are very categorical in your opening comment.
Yes.
However, I'm asking you again, do you feel that there is a case to look into what he's saying? Perhaps the manner in which these big music companies work, of how they want or how they're deciding that their music should be done in a movie.
Even if you give him allowance that the communal card or the M card, whatever it is, see, is the whether any other person belonging to that community making similar charge or similar allegation, I don't think I have come across any such allegation or suggestion even. Okay, number one. So he must be having some problem with some people. Okay, that is purely out of professional reasons. Okay, so if you are going to give color give a communal color to this, then you are, in fact, you are not doing service to your own community. That's what I would say. And number two, at the cost of sounding parochial, I think of all the panelists, I am the person who is from South. In fact, from the South, very many film artists, directors, so many people, music directors, they all had several difficulties in adjusting or adapting themselves to the demands of the Bollywood. Okay, but then most of them, including Kamal Hassan, Rajinikanth, they all came back to Chennai. Okay, but nobody blamed Bollywood because they also understood that Bollywood operates on a different scale and different way, and then style of functioning, everything is different. So they didn't make any fuss about not being successful in Hindi. Okay, maybe there's Vaijayanti Balabali of yesteryear, and then Padmini tried to be, she was successful for a limited period, and then Sridevi. Okay, and then Ram Gopal Verma had spoken about it very extensively, how Southerners, having their own problems. Okay, so these are all there. So you have to, but this gentleman has not faced this kind of problem. Okay, so far, and then now suddenly he comes up with this explanation. Okay, so but given the success that he has achieved, okay, then given the popularity that he has gained, for that you can take his views much more seriously. But the point is, I think he's exaggerating or he's covering up his failure, and then he's making it an issue. Okay, and that too on communal line, which is very unfortunate.
Now, where has A.R. Rahman failed? I still wonder. From the 90s to now, I don't think A.R. Rahman is a failure.
The feeling of
He should
failure
understand that.
maybe is with him. It may not be. You may not see that. Others may not see that. But the
See, I
feeling of
will-
failure is there. Okay,
Sanket,
so
if I'm allowed to just make a
why
point.
should he make
Yeah.
this kind of statement? You
See,
Sure.
A.R. Rahman has not said there is some open bigotry or something like that.
One moment, Sairaji, one moment. Yeah.
1 minute. He must be precise. He should not say that Chinese whisper, Roman whispers. Be straight, direct. Okay. And then several film artists from South, from some 60s onwards, had problems. Before you see Vani Jairam, she was a great musician. He's a Carnatic musician. He was a great playback singer, but she couldn't make a big success in Hindi. Of course, Lata Mangeshkar's role was considered, said to be there, and then all that I can name several people. But what I am saying is, Rahman did not face any such problem. Okay, so far I think Bollywood has been very accommodative, and then perhaps it has been even refined itself. I think perhaps, I don't know. But the point is, because of the failure or whatever it is, he's feeling of some frustration. I think on personal front also he's having some problem. maybe all that would have come together, converged. So you can't. But the point is that if you are going to give communal color to your failure or your whatever lapses or incompetence, then it's very, very dangerous trend. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Saira ji.
See, what I'm saying is that he has not mentioned that he has faced any overt bigotry or prejudice or things like that. The interviewer was asking him some very basic question. And let's kind of go back to the day when Amir Khan was asked about certain things that were happening in the country. And he was cancelled because of that, because he said, yeah, Kiran and I were discussing this, and there's this sense of despondency, and we were thinking, should we like move out? It was just something that he aired. He talked about a personal discussion of his then wife, Kiran Rao. And I saw the kind of hate messages, the kind of cancellation, that whole thing that people kind of just went crazy. Like, let's, cancel this Lal Singh Chadda. Let's cancel his movie. So let's not be in Delulu land and think that the cancel culture does not exist. It exists. There is a overt bigotry, and despite of that, Shah Rukh Khan has done well because his PR is good, and the kind of a person that he has a very secular image considering who he's married, the kind of lifestyle that he lives, and everything that his projects is extremely secular, and that goes by the idea of India. But at the same time, today, if Shah Rukh Khan has to make a political statement, do not tell me, and I'm asking the panelists here, won't he get cancelled for just espousing a certain political view that I really don't like the current flavor of the season, and these ultra national films are kind of not abiding by the idea of India? If he just makes a loose statement like that, I mean, the entire IT cell will, kind of just butcher him, left, right, and center. So let's please not be delusional that you know things are not happening. Things are happening, and I guess these actors are very careful about what they say and how they project
Sure.
themselves, and all of that. And at the same time, AR Rahman was not making any allegation, so to call him communal would be wrong. An interview was asking him, what about your work, what about this, what about that? He's like, see, I don't know, it could be a communal thing, I really don't know. He's not mentioned that he's facing any overt bigotry. So I think this issue should not be given further attention than what it already is receiving, because I think he was just sharing his feelings and statement, and I think he shouldn't be ostracized for that.
But at the same time, thank you very much for joining us, Abhishek ji, Mr. Wankhede, Mr. Ramakrishnan, as well as Saira Shah Halim. The point is, I have never heard A.R. Rahman say something like this. So that he has chosen to say this, should this warrant a discussion at least, just like the one we are having, analyzing. This is analytical intelligence. So to analyze what he has said, isn't that very, very important? Thank you very much to all of you for joining us. So this was one part of the discussion. But now, let me make you speak to a person who has covered A.R. Rahman's journey. So joining us now is Mr. Denzel O'Connell, entertainment editor, senior entertainment journalist, and someone who has covered A.R. Rahman's stories, has interviewed him, and has seen this music director's journey over the past few decades. Denzel, thank you so much for speaking to The Federal. For someone as polite, decent, and of the caliber of Rahman to say something like this, do you feel that there must be something much more that he's feeling and only expressing this much? You have known him for a while now. What is your view?
I'd like to start off right at the top by clearing the deck on A.R. Rahman. A.R. Rahman is a genius man. I'll talk about the genius man later. But first of all, let's talk about this issue that he says that what is happening right now in Bollywood may be commercial, and that's why he's not getting to do his music in Bollywood. There are a couple of things to this. The first thing to understand is the fact that A.R. Rahman is now seasoned, and Bollywood loves the Gen Z kind of of singer now, and that's where they are. So they're not in that space where the beauty of A.R. Rahman is appreciated in the movies. Now he might do great music, but you see, let's be realistic. He has also moved on. He does not make the same music that he makes for a South Indian film. And say, for instance, if he sings in Tamil, oh, I love his music in Tamil. I'm a huge Tamil fan of his, okay? I don't understand the language, I understand the nuance. But in Bollywood, is he making the same kind of music anymore? I think not so. So that's one thing. The second thing is, remember that most of his movies that he worked in Bollywood were from Mani Ratnam. Now, Mani Ratnam understands Rahman very well, and they work together. And therefore, that jodi, it's like a jodi, right? It's like Vishal Bharadwaj works only with certain music directors. It's the same thing. So the jodi works well for them. Now, in the today's circumstance, there's another factor that's very big. The music industry in Bollywood today is controlled by 3 or 4 houses. They're really big houses like the T-Series, the Z's, the Reliances of the world. Now they dictate the terms to the producer and the director. Now, does that mean that they choose their own people? Yes, they do. Is it communal? I think not so, because there are a lot of, for instance, singers who are of a particular community within Bollywood doing very well with their music right now. So I'm not looking at that point of view. What I am looking at it is very clear that one, there's been a shift in the way that Bollywood runs. Two, the music that Rahman used to make was beautiful. I mean, amazing stuff he's done. Roja, out of this world. But he doesn't put in that effort. According to me, I see his music now versus his music before. So that's the first part. And yes, that's for all to see.
Denzel, there are 2 parts to this question, almost like an either or. Do you feel that here is a case where Bollywood is turning less inclusive, that it is willing to diss A.R. Rahman, a legend like A.R. Rahman, because they can afford to, perhaps because of his religion, as he has alleged? Or is this a case of A.R. Rahman just becoming less relevant with the times, not moving with the times, and Bollywood trying to figure out that there is better music to be had somewhere else, better music directors to onboard?
Oh, as far as Rahman is concerned, I'd say certainly there is a certain sensitivity to him that is way beyond words, and he's very aware. So if he's feeling this way, he certainly has reason to feel. I'm sure things have come back to him which have painted a picture that are communal. Now remember that there are forces within the film industry, both in the north and the south, that are that way. There is a commercial picturization that's being done of what happens in Bollywood, for instance. Yeah, is it true? I would say to a certain extent, maybe. But then if I am from a particular understanding, I choose people from that understanding as well. It's like nepotism. It's the same kind of thing where you choose a music director that is closer to you, is more understanding of you. For instance, comes from the same state as you, Rajasthan, for instance, just as an example, right? So in that race, is Rahman getting left out? Yes, he is. And he is sensitive to it and therefore has brought it up. But I would say that he's genius and he's beyond all of this. And that's what I respect him for. I'll give an instance. So we were launching a television channel in Chennai. Now, this is the night before the launch, and A.R. Rahman was singing and performing at that launch. Oh, it was it was in a stadium, that level, okay? Now, he had 200 musicians who were in practice with him. Now, I'm standing at this console, which is a 220 fader console, which is huge. It's a huge music console. I'm standing at it. Rahman is next to me, and he's just watching everybody perform. And suddenly, he stops the sound console. He tells everybody to stop, and he says, "Third guitar from the left. You are playing out." That's the genius of Rahman. There is no comparison. If you ask me, is he genius? Living genius. And we are, it's just like Amitabh Bachchan. I am honored to share space with him. Now, I would think that if Bollywood were to give him that opportunity to create a whole movie, right, with his own license, Rahman would jump that offer. But right now, is Bollywood there? I'd say no. Bollywood is just kind of finding his feet with people with movies like Dhurandhar. They're not really there back yet where they can say, okay, let's experiment with a movie. It's not about experiment right now. It's about what is working with the masses. And let's put that into the cinema right now. It's sad, but it's true. That's the way it is. Sanket.
Right, Denzil O'Connell, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your views. Always a pleasure talking to you, Denzil. Thank you so much. That's a wrap in this edition of Analytical Intelligence, but we'll be back next week with more programs. Stay with us.